felt exhilarated. Also, knowing that I have a friend who owns a jar. So I think, yes, my chances of becoming successful has just increased by 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our final evaluator. You know, they say the bad thing about life is that time flies, but the good thing is that you're the pilot. And luckily for us, we have a pilot in the house who will be serving as our timer. And his name is Toastmaster Edem Imseka. He is a graphic designer and data analyst. I think he designed the flyer for this meeting because I found it really exhilarating. He is from the Seashell Toastmasters Club. And just traveling, listening to music, driving like me, and photography and designing. His favorite quotes, really profound one by Benjamin Franklin. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I'll remember. Involve me and I'll learn. Ladies and gentlemen, let's lavish our timer with so much commendation. Let's appreciate him and, you know, over to you, Mr. Timer.
Thank you, General Evaluator, my fellow Toastmasters and guests. Indeed, it's an honor. I'm grateful to be here in this exhilarating meeting, and I'll be serving as a timer for today. Please confirm you can hear me.
Absolutely.
Right. So as a timer, I'll be timing the table topics for today, the evaluation, the prepared speeches, and at the end of this meeting, I'll be coming out with my reports. So for the table topics, which is slated for 2 minutes, I'll be sharing my screen as I'm raising the cards. At 1 minute, I'll be raising the green card. You'll be seeing the green traffic lights. At 1 minute, 30 seconds, you'll be seeing the yellow traffic lights. And at 2 minutes, you'll be seeing the red lights. And every speaker is given 30 seconds to run up their speech. For the evaluation, which is slated for 2 minutes, at 2 minutes, you'll be seeing the green lights. At 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you'll be seeing the yellow light. And at 3 minutes, you'll be seeing the red lights. For the prepared speeches, which is for 5 to 7 minutes, at 5 minutes, you'll be seeing the green lights. At 6 minutes, you'll be seeing the yellow lights. And at 7 minutes, you'll be seeing the red lights. And it's back to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How exhilarating. That was wonderfully done by all my team of extraordinary gentlemen, as I call them. And I think this brings me to the end of the introduction of my role as a general evaluator. And as I round off, I'll leave you with a quote by Bill Gates that says, "It is fine to celebrate success, but it's much more important to heed the lessons of failure." And on this note, I'd love to relinquish control back to our delectable Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Tari Adebisi. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Tosi, our General Evaluator. It would be great if I could have everyone on mute, and please put your hands together. Let us know that we're not the only voices here. We have people behind blank screens with us. Good. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Tosin. That was very well done. And so we'll go straight ahead to the prepared speeches, to the manual speeches. And I believe the first speech of the day would be a speech by Toastmaster Mina Allison. But I will introduce the evaluator for that speech. Great. And our speech evaluator for Toastmaster Mina's speech would be our own distinguished Toastmaster Chidi Chukwumadu. I hope she's on the call. Toastmaster Chidi, are you here?
Absolutely, Madam Toastmaster today.
Great. Nice to have you here, DTM Chidi. DTM Chidi Chukwumadu is a business analyst. Her club is she has multiple clubs actually. Learntor Toastmasters Club, AWN Toastmasters Club, and Lighthouse Prestige Toastmasters Club. Her hobbies include dancing, volunteering, tennis, and combat sports. Not one to be messed with. Her favorite quote is, "I have learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Beautiful quote by Maya Angelou. So over to you, DTM Chidi. Chidi as you introduce Toastmaster Mina and her speech, and then I'll take it back from you, and then Toastmaster Mina can come up. Over to you, DTM Chidi.
Thank you very kindly, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Johnny, good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I hope we're all excited and you're having an exhilarating day. The Toastmaster of the day has just introduced me in a manner that makes me feel exhilarated. Toastmaster Mina will be speaking from the presentation mastery path, a level 1 project 2. So today she has to deliver a speech on the project, writing a speech with purpose. Toastmaster Mina, if you are on the call and ready to give us an exhilarating speech, I will be looking out today for the structure of your speech and the purpose. So the objective of your speech is for you to write a speech with purpose. Your speech can be informational, it can be humorous, it can be inspirational, it can be motivational, whatever format you want it to take, but it has to have a core message, which is the purpose of that speech. At the end, when called up, I will come and I will give you feedback based on the objective of the speech that you're going to deliver right now. I wish you all the very best, and I look forward to you delivering a speech that will leave us with a fuzzy feeling. Madam Toastmaster of the day, over to you.
Thank you, DTM Chidi. Fight, flight, and freeze. Toastmaster Mina, fight, flight, and freeze. Over to you. Take it away.
Please confirm you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Hello, Mina. We're sorry to inform you that despite our best efforts, approval cannot be granted at this time. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. So about a year ago, I embarked on a critical project, promising the delivery of a mobile app that would optimize and streamline our activities. The stakes were high, the deadline was tight. The development was not so smooth, but eventually the app was ready. And we began onboarding users. Just 2 weeks before the deadline, my village people visited me. Harsh realization struck. So most of our end users couldn't access the mobile app. I frantically sent emails and made calls, reaching out to anyone who could help. I went above and beyond, only to be told that it was impossible. Of course, panic set in as I realized the project will definitely fail without users. So at that moment, my mind raced through the classic responses: fight, flight, or freeze. My first response was to freeze. I stared at my screen, overwhelmed. The clock was ticking. My mind went blank. Freezing at that time seemed like the easiest option. If I didn't move, maybe the problem would just disappear. But then I remembered a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Her words broke this. Next came the flight response. The urge to leave my desk and avoid the problem was really strong. I imagined just walking out of the office, pretending this was someone else's problem. But deep down, I knew fleeing wasn't a solution. Running away would only just delay the inevitable and then worsen the situation. Of course, I had to choose the fight response. It wasn't about fighting an enemy, but fighting the urge to give up. So I needed to stay calm, assess the situation, and then find a way out. I gathered my team. We set up an emergency war room. We had to re-strategize. We broke down the problem, analyzed codes, and then brainstormed, looking at possible solutions. We eventually opted for a desktop application, which meant that we had to start all over again. It was a grueling process, and the pressure was immense. So throughout that those intense hours, I kept reminding myself of another quote by Winston Churchill. If you are going through hell, just keep going. So this became our team's mantra. And then every small breakthrough, every line of code that brought us closer to the solution was a victory for us. As the primary developer, I walked through the night, fueled by determination and copious amounts of coffee. There were moments of doubts, frustration, but of course I did not give up. And then slowly, piece by piece, we began to unravel the mystery, and the idea was just coming together. I needed to start all over again with the desktop app. It was a very complex issue involving multiple interdependent models, and it required a complete overhaul of certain parts of the system. Was I exhausted? Yes, but I was driven. I divided the tasks to our team members, and then we got to work. With relentless effort, we developed an entire new desktop app. Just in time for the deadline, we were able to deliver that project. Well, of course, many were thrilled with the result, but they were unaware of the monumental struggle we had endured. That sense of accomplishment was exhilarating, not just because we had completed the project, but because we had faced a seemingly insurmountable challenge and then emerged victorious. So this experience taught me a powerful lesson about the fight, flight, and freeze response. In the face of adversity, it is very natural to feel overwhelmed. But it is our ability to confront our fears and then we're able to make rational decisions and push through challenges that defines our strength. If you know the American author and motivational speaker Les Brown, he once said, "You are stronger than you think." We all have an inner strength, and that surfaces when we need it the most. So it's not about never feeling fear, it's about how we respond to it. So, my friends, you find yourself in a very difficult situation, remember that you have the power to overcome it. Embrace within you, face your fears, and keep moving forward. It is through these trials that we can discover the true depth of our resilience and courage. Now, in moments of crisis, my friends, will you choose to fight, freeze, or flight? The choice is yours. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmasters of the Day.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mina. You gave us several moments where we had food for thought. Food for thought indeed. Fight, flight, or freeze. And that is those are the three options you have really when you're confronted with anything in life. It could be small, it could be large, anything in life. Do I go against it? Or do I just stay there? Or do I just take off? Which one would it be for you? Think about the problems or the challenges or the circumstances that surround you now. What would your reaction be? Having heard this speech, would you take a different approach to that problem? I think Toastmasters meetings are interesting because we don't just come here to speak in quotes, big grammar and plenty of English. You actually take life lessons out of these meetings, and that's the truth. You could hear something that's actually be a solution to something you've been facing. So keep your mind open even as you listen to the speeches. Don't just think, oh, it's all about English and grammar. It's about many things. So thank you very much once again, Toastmaster Mina. I'm sure your evaluator has her work cut out for her. Well done, well done, well done. And then we move on to the next speech, which would be a speech by, if I'm not mistaken, that would be Toastmaster Linus Osai Chidi will be our next speaker. And he will be evaluated by none other than a very handsome, as you can see, Toastmaster Nameti Akpan. I haven't heard his voice in a while. Toastmaster Nameti Akpan is an accountant. He belongs to Uyo Premier Speakers and Kuwait Challengers Toastmasters Club, and he's on the engaging humor pathway, a really interesting pathway, one that I fear, if I must confess. His hobbies include playing snooker, listening to classical music, yes, that's my guy, and reading spiritual literature, great. And his favorite quote is, "The bird does not sing because it needs an answer. It sings because it has a song." Interesting. Let me read it again. "The bird does not sing because it needs an answer. It sings because it has a song." And that's a Chinese proverb. So Toastmaster Nameti Akpan, kindly come on the virtual lectern and introduce the next speaker for the manual speeches, and then hand back over to me. Over to you, Toastmaster Nameti.
Very distinguished Toastmasters, I'm already feeling a sense of effervescence with the exhilarating delivery of the speeches and the presentations that we're having today. You know, I am delighted to evaluate one of our best today. His name is Toastmaster Linus, and today Toastmaster Linus will be speaking to us from the Dynamic Leadership Pathway, Level 2, Project 1. Now, this project focuses on recognizing your preferred leadership style. And the purpose of the project is for him to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. He's also expected to share some aspects of his leadership experiences or discuss leadership styles in general. Toastmaster Linus Osai, we know what you can do. Give us an exhilarating and unforgettable experience. I wish you well in your delivery. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
And without further ado, Toastmaster Linus Osai Chidi, our leaders born or made. Our leaders born or made, Toastmaster Linus Osai Chidi. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Ladies and gentlemen, our leaders born or made. I'd like you to ponder on that and take a moment. And please, feel free to indicate your answers in the chat box. While we wait for these responses, who is a leader? A leader, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is someone who leads or commands a group, organization, country, or situation. I think everyone is a leader because first, you make choices. You make choices on the clothes you wear, you make choices on your appearance, you make choices on how you speak, and you make choices on the people that you associate with. These choices make you a leader in one way or the other. In the monarchy, leaders are born as heirs to the crown or throne to their parents. In democratic or parliamentary governmental setups, leaders are either elected or chosen to run for office. Now, my current pathway in the Toastmasters journey has helped me understand different leadership styles. They could be bureaucratic, they could be affiliative, they could be democratic, authoritative, pace-setting, coaching, altruistic, or innovative. Upon assessment, I discovered that my most dominant leadership styles are being altruistic and innovative, which is very close to what my current reality looks like. I could personalize my approach to meet the needs of the team of people that I lead, while also inviting collaborative conversations in the process. And this approach has helped me and even my team solve seemingly complex situations. I'll tell you a story growing up in a household of 4 younger siblings. And these experiences may have influenced my leadership style in one way. I started cooking at the age of 9, and this started on the day we had not done our house chores. We were played up until late in the evening. My mother came home from work and very tired. In her anger, she said no one was going to eat until our chores were done. So I took it upon myself. I organized my younger ones and divided up the chores among them and told them I will rush to the kitchen in anticipation of the pangs of hunger that was going to come our way if we do not finish that late into the night. And then I went to the kitchen and I made okra soup for the first time. It wasn't that hard. After I've observed my mother do it plenty of times. I will tell you that the soup didn't come out that well, but that also earned me a badge as the assistant chef and the official chef for my household anytime my parents were not around. That made me become a leader to my siblings. I had collaborated with them to divvy up the chores while I have gone ahead to lead by example and made the. It's very interesting that all through my life, in all of my experiences, academically, socially, and otherwise, I've also sought the conversations of my fellow teammates in trying to solve problems. And in subsequent years, this has helped and influenced my decisions in how I lead and in how I approach problems. Now, me being an altruistic or innovative kind of leader would have been influenced by my experiences all through my social life or all through my academic life, or back to when I started leading from my household. Was it because I was the first of 4 children? Or was it because I responded to an anticipation of hunger? Or was it because I was born to respond in that way? All of this doesn't matter because the choices that I made on that day has led me to where I am today. However, I'd like to invite each and every one of us to ponder upon the fact that situations may develop. However, it's the choices that we make in this situation that helps us handle or tackle these situations. And at the end of the day, it helps shapes the type of leaders that we become. Do ponder on this with me as I wrap up. Are leaders born or made? Thank you, and it's back to you, Toastmaster.
Awesome, Toastmaster Linus. Well done. I don't see those, I don't see that applause at all. I don't hear it, I don't see it. I hope we're all here. Well done, Toastmaster Linus Osai Chidi. Interesting question. Are leaders born or made? Before I joined Toastmasters, I actually used to believe that leaders were born. I mean, you couldn't convince me otherwise that there weren't certain people that God actually shone his light on and said, when this one gets to planet Earth, this one will be a leader. But I think it's different now for me, having joined Toastmasters or having been a member of Toastmasters the last 4, 5 years. I think I know different now, but that's my personal opinion. What's yours? Thank you very much once again, Toastmaster Linus. That was a really good speech. And on to the next, and I think the last prepared speech for today would be a speech by our Madam President, Toastmaster Ekuchi James. And she will be evaluated by Toastmaster Ruben Uzor. Toastmaster Ruben Uzor. Yeah, good. So Toastmaster Ruben Uzor, who I met earlier, is an electrical engineer. He belongs to Surulere Toastmasters Club, and he's currently on the dynamic leadership path. His hobbies include meeting people, playing chess, watching movies with interesting dialogue. And his favorite quote is, "Life is a game. Play it, enjoy it." Life is a game. Play it, enjoy it. Over to you, Toastmaster Ruben Uzor, as you introduce the next speaker and hand back over to me. Toastmaster Ruben.
very much to Toastmaster of the Day. It's such an exhilarating feeling being here at this meeting and hearing the wonderful speeches being delivered. Toastmaster Joy Ekuchi would be speaking from the Persuasive Influence Pathway. This is her first of the projects in her level 4. The purpose rather of this project is for her to give us a plan in the first section of the meeting and to have people pose questions in the second half of her presentation, and she's to respond to these plans appropriately, to these questions appropriately. She's also supposed to be very composed and make the people feel heard. That she shouldn't just supposed to respond on the surface. She's supposed to give vital information and adjust the plan she has presented in the beginning of her speech when they're asking questions in way of response. So at this point, I would now hand back the lectern to you, the TMOD. But before I go, Toastmaster Ekuchi, break a leg. I am looking forward to listening to an exhilarating speech. It's over to you now, the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ruben. Toastmaster Ekuchi Joy James, the Valley of the Shadow of Death. The Valley of the Shadow of Death, Toastmaster Ekuchi Joy James. Over to you, ma'am.
Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Or so I thought, because after all, I was handling a Christian camp program. Oh dear Lord. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests and fellow risk takers. Come with me on an exhilarating and interesting journey of how I almost became the only woman to have a slot in the Guinness World Records as the woman who conceived, gestated, birthed, watched an 11-year-old grow in one day. You might be confused. Don't worry, I'll let you understand. A friend of mine came to me and said, Kichi, we're handling a Christian camp program for children ages 11 to 15, a Christian camp program. During the summer holidays, we don't want them sitting idly. We want them to do something interesting and also godly. I was excited. I was exhilarated. It was something totally down my alley, right? So I pumped up myself and I said, you know what, let's do this. And we started to plan. Planning took a couple of months. We made sure that we got the number of children we wanted to be there. We got a venue, we got facilitators. We did everything that we thought we were supposed to do. We got security, we made sure we got refreshments, we got a hall that had security exits and conveniences. We thought we were okay. I mean, after all, they were just children, right? 11 to 15. I'm a full-grown woman. I can handle this. Fast forward to the day of the camp. I held hands with my partners as we stared at the door excitedly, so exhilarated. What was going to happen? Then one child walked in. Ooh, were we excited? One child turned into 2 children and 5 children. And before you knew it, we had a hall filled with hundreds of children. And I said to myself, Mama, I've made it. Everything went well. Program was going on. We had breakout sessions. Children were asking questions. I was walking around, looking at them, being so excited. It was engaging. There was praise and worship. Ooh, they were dancing. We saw the Gen Zs doing the amapiano and everything. It was exciting. It was good. They ate their food. Everyone was fine. Everyone was fine. Stay with me. Everyone was fine. And then we came to the end of this summer camp program titled Emerge. The children had talked about Emerge. They were emerging into this very exciting time of their life as they go into the new session. It was time to go home. What we had done to make sure that security was really tight was when a parent dropped their child, they registered them, and we made sure that they told us who was going to pick up the child afterwards, just for the sake of accountability. You know how children can be. They're always moving around, very restless. I was exhilarated when I found out that everything was going well. Every parent was coming in, picking up their child, and going home. While I was talking to a certain parent that was saying, oh, I thought this was so good, madam, you did so well. My child can't stop talking about how much fun they had. I felt a tap on my shoulder. Miss Akuchi, yes, please. We cannot find Casey. Eh? What do you mean you cannot find Casey? His mother handed him over to me personally. I brought him and I even gave him a seat. And she said to me she would be picking him up. So look for him. Casey is somewhere around waiting for his mother. No, we cannot find Casey. We've searched everywhere. You cannot have searched everywhere. Please find Casey. Yes, madam, what were you saying? Mr. Kuchi, 1 second. And then I realized this thing was getting serious. I gave her all my attention at this point. What is going on? We started off Golda Ultimate Search. How many of you know this show that Chidi Mokeme used to do? Yes, yes. Show of hands. I see it as I see Dr. Terry Grace. That was me. I was the Chidi Mokeme and I was also the contestant. We moved around from toilet. I almost entered into the sink looking for Casey. I went downstairs. I went to the bathroom. I shouted at the top of my voice. I didn't even know that I had that tone of voice. It was from Casey to Casey to, I used every, I was running out of ideas. I could not provide an 11-year-old. What was I going to tell his mother? I told everyone to pray. After all, we're in a Christian camp, right? Pray. Do all you can. This chaos was happening because his driver had arrived to pick him up. All of a sudden, I get my phone ringing. Hello. Good evening, ma'am. This is Mrs. Okeke, Casey's mother. Hello. Mrs. Okeke, how are you? I hope you're having a great day. Yes, I am. Just to let you know that Casey is back home and he's rested. He spoke so well of the program. What now? Casey's where? Casey is home. He came back with the hospitals. They are neighbors, so we just felt like since they were in the show as well, we might as well bring him home. For those that do not understand Yoruba, it means my life is over. I paraphrase. I didn't know if to shout, to cry, to kneel, to speak in tongues. I had no idea what to do at that time. And then I began to channel in all the things I knew about crisis management. I called on everyone and said to them in the shakiest voice I could manage, Casey is fine and he's home with his parents. I went to the driver and I told him, were you asked to pick Casey up? No, madam. I didn't go to the supermarket, go buy something. And then I just thought I should come by and pick him. No. You gave all of us a scare. Anyway, long and short of the story, Casey was fine. I didn't have to conceive, gestate, birth, and watch a child grow in one day, thankfully. What did this teach me? You can never overplan. You can never overplan. We thought we had it in the bag. I began to ask myself, what could I have done better? I'd done this before many times. I could sleep and wake up and organize a camp for anyone, a program for anyone. But on this particular day, I almost lost a child. That would have been a huge disaster. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever been in a situation where your planning has seemed to fail you? You were exhilarated about something, but all of a sudden, it just shatters right in front of you. Well, I have. I learned a lot from this experience. And now I know that you can never overplan. It was Andy Gilman, a techpreneur and a businessman, who said, the secret of crisis management is not good versus bad. It is preventing the bad from getting worse. And I think that day I could beat my chest to say, I prevented the bad from getting worse. Thank you, Toastmasters and guests, for listening to my story. At this point, I would love to let the room or hand it over to you, the audience, to come up with impromptu questions on how I would have handled this better. What disruptions would have been in my plan? Open to questions. You can unmute and
You
speak.
have two hands.
Oh, I see hands.
You have two
Essay.
hands.
Great, great. So Pastor Essay Okereka, over to you.
Well, what if while you're making the plans, the parent had called that Casey is missing? What would you have done?
Thank you for that question. I was hoping you would not ask that because I thought about this long and hard. What would I have done? The most I would have done was to beg with all that was within me. I would have called my village chief. I would have called my father. I would have called the imam. I'm not a Muslim, but I would have called the imam. I would have called the native doctor in my village. I'm not an atheist, but I would have asked him for help. I would have asked the bishop, every person that I could find or muster the courage to find to beg on my behalf. Think about it. There was no way I would have found Casey. If Casey was gone, he was gone. Definitely would have filed the police report, the missing persons report, would have done all that we needed to do. But if he was lost, he was lost. The thought of this haunted me for days, even after the program. Again, I don't know what I would have done. I'm so glad he wasn't missing. Thank you, Toastmaster Effie.
Thank you. As a
I hope
follow-up,
I answered
though,
your question. Okay.
No, because as a follow-up, I wonder what if Casey had survived, but it turned out that he had broken his leg. And he claims that he broke his leg while he was at your program.
That would have been much better than him getting lost. Oh, trust me, I would have leaped for joy if he broke his leg. Sorry, Casey. Sorry, Mrs. Okeke, but I would have loved that your son broke his leg than getting missing. Definitely, we would have taken, I and the other trainers would have taken responsibility of this very unfortunate incident, made sure that he got all the treatment that he needed, all the support that he needed. Hopefully, since he was a young child, healing would be faster, praying that he doesn't get paralyzed or anything more fatal, but would have been able to handle it better. And maybe next time, make sure that we do a program that was more careful about how these children moved around.
Thank you. My last question would be, would you teach Casey again?
I would teach Casey again, but this time I will wrap him around my waist, like a waist bag, and I'll make sure he never leaves my side. He seems to be a very volatile child, so I'll make sure that I do not let him out of my sight. But yes, I'll teach Casey again. He was a sweet boy. Yes, I see Toastmaster hands up. Please go ahead with your question.
God bless you for surviving that. I have two questions. And first of all, I don't agree with Dr. Essie. It's the driver's fault. Casey did nothing. It's the driver's fault, but I'll come to that. But yeah, a specific question, and then I'll ask it to the record. But the specific question I wanted to ask was, if Mrs. Okeke didn't call you, because that was your savior, if Mrs. Okeke didn't call you, what would you have done? How would you have approached this differently? Because she called you and you were like, exhilarating feeling, I got this, the baby is found, Wakanda forever, kill the driver. What would have happened differently?
Now, in retrospect, I think I would have tried my best to think of the possibility that he went home with someone else, a friend. Because when these camp meetings happen, they're always socializing and forming these cliques and always, I would have assumed that he would have followed a friend. I would have gone to the list of all, thank God for good documentation. I had the list of every child and every parent documented. I would have gone through that list, placed a call or called every single parent on that list. Hello, Mrs. Jones. Do you by any, hi, how are you? Obviously, you won't start with, are you with Casey? You'll look irresponsible. Just do the pleasantries. And then, do you by any chance know if your son was talking to Casey after the meeting? If they went to buy chewing gum or they went to play games? I know. I didn't see them together. Oh, really? Okay, no problem. That's what I have to find out. I'm trying to, you know how these children can be. Then I call, hello, Mrs. John. Do you by any chance? I've just done that until I found Casey.
Okay. It makes a lot of sense. And then my final question is not particular to this, but in the more generic sense, because you mentioned how interesting it was, how everybody was calling you and saying this was the best summer camp program I've done in my life. But so, because of this, let's assume that people were anticipating this and every family brought a friend, the same way we asked everybody in Toastmasters to get a new person. And it was double what you planned. You had a larger number, less space, because you know Casey, you know Mrs. Okeke, but at some point when Mrs. Okeke's neighbor that you don't know, so how would you have handled that in terms of like planning in the middle of the event starting, double the number, for instance?
Thank you. That was a contingency that we thought about. The program was planned to cater for 100 children, but we did food, we did provision, we got a hall that could contain 300 children for this kind of thing. We all know people that, oh, I have a wedding, or do you want to come with me? I have a party, do you want to come with me? Someone come with me. We knew that was going to happen. So we made contingency plans for that. More space, more food, more facilitators to watch and handle the crowd if we had more than we planned for. There was a Microsoft form that went out to help with registration, and we made sure that it was one reply only. There were a couple of things we did to curb this kind of situation. Yeah. So I think that was managed to an extent. Thank you. That's as much questions as I can take. I'll look in the chat box and I see a lot of suggestions coming in. Thank you so much. This is something I do always. So I definitely need to see the suggestions for future activities so that I do not lose Casey again and I do not become the Guinness World Record holder for conceiving, gestated, and birthing an 11-year-old. Thank you so much. And it's back to you, the Toastmaster of the day.
Wonderful. Toastmaster Eguchi. Thank God we didn't come looking for you in EFCC Net or DSS or SSS or one paramilitary, God forbid SARS or one of those people. Thankfully, Casey was safe at home. That couldn't have been a pleasant experience, but great speech. Well done, well done, well done, Toastmaster Eguchi. I'm sure Toastmaster Ruben, I hope Toastmaster Ruben didn't lose track of what he was supposed to be doing, got immersed in the speech and forgot that he was supposed to be evaluating. Toastmaster Ruben, I hope that's not your reality. But well done again. Beautiful 3 speeches. Toastmaster Eguchi, just look into the chat box. There are many suggestions for you. Somebody talked about a sign-out form. I would suggest cameras in that kind of camp, knowing what's going on in the country now and seeing that there are so many missing children around. Cameras will do you a whole lot of good. But then there are other suggestions there. Just take a peep so that when next this kind of situation comes up, we know what to do. Well done, well done, well done. And time is fast spent. We're at 5:18 now. We have just a bit of time for our table topics segment, which will be the next segment. And I will be introducing our table topics master, or in this case, table topics madam of the day, and that will be Toastmaster Ajibike Oshodi. Toastmaster Ajibike is a legal practitioner. She's a member of our club, proud member of Pecten Toastmasters Club, and she's currently on the presentation mastery path. Her hobbies include traveling, reading, observing humans. Very interesting. I love observing humans too. Cooking diverse cuisines while discovering new recipes, music, and all artistic expressions. Her favorite quote is, "He who hesitates is lost. He who hesitates is lost," from a play written by Cato. Toastmaster Ajibike Oshodi, it's time for table topics. And if you're a guest on the call, what this simply means, what table topics simply means, is you have 2 minutes to speak about whatever topic Toastmaster Ajibike decides to hand over to you to speak. You're supposed to speak at length for 2 minutes. The timer will time you. 1 to 2 minutes is the agreed time. If you go above 2 minutes, you just with 30 seconds and to deliver a speech. So this is like thinking on your feet, speaking on your feet, and just doing the best you can. And we encourage guests to please take part, because this is the only time we really get to hear you speak. Please take part in this segment. There are no right or wrong ways of doing things. You only just learn, and this is a safe space to learn. So over to you, Toastmaster Ajibike. I think on the agenda, we have just 10 minutes for table topics. So yeah, so timer, take notes. Over to you, Toastmaster Ajibike.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Tari, for your exhilarating introduction. I'm very glad to be part of this meeting. It's nice to see everybody. So my table topics, as Toastmaster Tari explained, table topics is really thinking on your feet. And it's an example of how the Toastmasters meeting encompasses all the bits of speaking. So I have 3 questions. Can we have a Toastmaster volunteer for the table topics? I'll look at the chat box, or can you raise your hand? Does anybody want to volunteer for an exhilarating part of the
You have three
tabletop.
hands up.
Yeah,
You have three
I have
hands
three
up.
hands up already. Let me look
Amazing.
at
That was
the
so
chat box.
fast.
Oh, I have an issue with my.
Okay, so you have Toastmaster Toby. I think House went up first. Toastmaster Toby
Okay,
Loba.
Toastmaster Sylvia, please, can you choose a number from 1 to 3?
Number 2.
Somebody said my
Number 2.
Toastmaster
You're
Jibike, you're
muted.
muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
you're
can hear
back.
you, but you're muted again. Yeah, we can
Okay,
see you
can you
now.
see me now? I'm so
Yes,
sorry
we
about
can
that.
hear you now. Yes,
So
that's
we're
fine.
we're in the season of the Olympics. So I want to say the Olympic motto is faster, higher, stronger. Everybody, they train for so long to be faster, higher, stronger than the next opponent. Can you give us an example of an area of your life in your early childhood, i.e. before 18, where you had to be faster, higher, and stronger?
Thank you very much. Faster, higher,
Stronger.
I remember back in secondary school, I was quite notorious, always making noise, always on the wrong side of things. But then it unfortunately became a trend that I would always go home with fairly good results and horrible teachers' remark. My mom wasn't so exhilarated. I mean, nobody would see those kind of things. There was no way the results would compensate for the teacher's remark. So it was close to, end of secondary school, SS3. And I think that was the first time in my life I consciously called myself to say, look, we have to do something about this. My brother is on this call and he can testify to the fact that my mom was always saying, look at your brother, he's literally like the polar opposite of you. I mean, faster, stronger, higher. And this particular topic makes sense to me now, even though at the time I couldn't find I couldn't find words or terms that particularly described what I'd experienced and how I'd metamorphosed, into ensuring that the trend didn't continue. And it was interesting how I still failed my WAEC, I failed mathematics, and my mom made me repeat SS3. I had to write WAEC all over. It was quite embarrassing, attending classes with other people who were supposed to be my junior. When my mates were gaining admission, I was there repeating SS3 and writing WAEC all over again. But it was it was a moment where I had to reflect, where I had to consciously reflect for the first time in my life. And I'm like, look, we can't keep going like this. How do I do it? How do I change the narrative faster? How do I get higher grades? How do I come out stronger and not be, moved or brokenhearted by my colleagues who have moved ahead in their academic endeavors. So first of all, I told her, look, you would need to enroll me to a tutorial for extra lessons. At the time in my life, I'd already realized that I would do better with personalized training. And she subscribed to that idea. And with the grit I had and dedication, I was able to come out faster, higher, and stronger. Look where I am now. I've applied the same tactic to growth, to my professional life, to my social life, to pretty much everything I do. Thank you very much, Toastmaster, and it's back to you. Faster, higher, and stronger.
Thank you so much for an example of how to be faster, higher, stronger. I'm having problems with my screen. I can see the person with the hand up. What's the name of that person, please? Can you help me,
Toastmaster Samuel Olonade. Toastmaster
Okay.
Samuel Olonade.
Can we have Toastmaster Samuel, please? So Toastmaster Samuel, we have 2 questions. She took question 3. So question 1 or question 2?
I'm going with question 1.
Okay, question 1. So we're back to the theme of faster, higher, stronger. We all know that life is a journey, and in some aspects of our life, it's a journey which encompasses us actually getting what we think the Olympic gold is. So give us an example of a part in your life, either spiritually, emotionally, or financially, or academically, where you went through the journey and you came out faster, higher, and stronger.
Thanks, TMJPK, for that question. I'll reminisce back to my days in the tertiary institution, in the university. So there's usually this transition phase from secondary school to university. I mean, lots of top performance from secondary school. Then you feel like you're the champion from secondary school, and you feel confident as you're going into the university that you'd have the same kind of level of performance, right? So a similar experience for me. In my secondary school, I was one of the best students in my school. So I had high ambitions going into the university to study chemical engineering. I was hoping I would be one of the top students in my class then. So first semester, 100 level, I put in my best. I was totally optimistic about the results. However, it came as a shocker to me that my result was not what I expected. And I was totally disappointed. I had to look inwards and try and find out where it all went wrong, because I knew I was capable of much more than this. And in the next semester, in the next sections, I had to double up my efforts. I had to reinforce my confidence in myself. And it was not much of an experience to write home about in the first year, in the first semester at 100 level. But after that, I had to look inwards, and my performance from my 200 level to my final year was actually much better. And surprisingly, I finished my school, my university days then as a top student in my class, despite my very woeful performance in the 100 level, which is nothing to reminisce about for me then. So it reinforced my confidence in myself, like in whatever challenges I face, I can always come out faster, can always come out stronger, and I can always come out better. Yeah, that's all from me, TMGBK.
Thank you very much for that. We can all see that life is a journey. So we have one more person. Is that
Toastmaster Linus?
Toastmaster Linus. Okay. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Olim. So Toastmaster Linus, there's just one question left. Again, to our theme, faster, higher, stronger. What sports do you play? What are the benefits? And how has it helped you become faster, higher, and stronger? What sport do you play personally? What physical exercise do you do?
Thank you, Toastmaster Jirike. I am a football lover. I love playing football, although I've not played this year due to some issues, both physical and in terms of other parental duties. But I love playing football. And my favorite position is attacking midfielder. As an attacking midfielder, you are the connection between the defense and the attack. You relay passes from the defense and ensure that you get the ball to the attacker to score. So I like to assist people in scoring. I like to ask them, how may I assist you today? And as an attacking midfielder, you always have to anticipate the movement of the players around you in football. So I would say my best position is the 8th position in football, and you have to have situational awareness at all times. You have to know where your opponents are and where your fellow players are. That way, you can anticipate how a striker moves and then you can give him the perfect volley where he scores the goal and keep your team ahead in the game. So as an attacking midfielder, you always have to be faster, you always have to be stronger than the opponent, and you always have to be smarter in everything and in all the moves that you make in the pitch for your team to become successful. Thank you, and that's back to you, David.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Linus. What an exhilarating time we've had, seeing experiences from early childhood and adolescence and even up to now. The Olympics has a spirit which is attached to it, and I want us to actually see that through our daily lives, in all aspects of our daily lives. Be faster, be higher, be stronger in your exhilarating journey called life. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And I urge us all to embrace physical exercise. It helps our emotional state. It helps our physics. It helps our test for endurance, which is what the Olympics is about. So I urge us all on this exhilarating journey called life in all our facets, our spiritual facets, our emotional, our intellectual, to try and become faster, higher, stronger. And as I said, a journey of 1,000 miles takes place in one step. I urge us to have the Olympic spirit in all our lives. And good evening. It was nice to have been part of this meeting. Thank you very much.
Well done, Toastmaster GBK. Awesome table topic session. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed this little speech you've just given at the end. Honestly, it was really a call to action. I urge us to. I mean, it just sounded like you were actually opening the Olympics all over again. But thank you so much. That was really good. That was really cool. So 5:33, we're running a bit behind time. I would like to hand over to our Madam President, Toastmaster Ikuchi, for the welcoming of first-timers, I think. And thereafter, we would have our interactive session. Madam President, over to you.
Thank you so much, the Toastmaster of the day. I must say you're doing a great job. I'm sure you can tell by how exhilarated I sound. Super happy. Without further ado, I'm going to quickly do this. We're running behind schedule. I see a lot of new names in the participant list, and that makes me super excited. Makes me feel a high level of exhilaration. Adebola Kolawole. I see Annie is a familiar name. I see Christy. I see Dr. Nimbera is not new. He will soon be a member. I see who else is new here? Joy Indego. I see Kewe. I see Lenny. I see Mohammed Ikrama. He's a Toastmaster, but I don't think I've seen him in one of our meetings before. Oluwakemi Vincent. For correct, you're becoming a very regular member. I'm hoping to see you register soon. I see Robert Uzo, first time in our meeting, I'm guessing, who happens also to be my evaluator. Welcome, Samuel Olonade. I see Vianney K. Every single person that is joining us for the first time today as a guest or as a Toastmaster guest. Super excited to have you here. It's always a pleasure. There will be no Toastmasters meeting. There will be no Pecten Toastmasters meeting without you. Just imagine if we had a meeting where it was Toastmaster Olem, Toastmaster Joy, Toastmaster Tari, or Toastmaster SA. It would be a very drab one. You make it all better. You make it good. And in the spirit of flourishing with gratitude, we are very grateful that you are joining us today. Please do not go away after today. Come back, keep coming. If you enjoyed today, tell your friend to tell a friend to join us another time. We'd love to see you. And if you love what we're doing here, we also love that you join us. Once you want to learn to speak like Toastmaster Linus or Toastmaster Mina, right? Or me. See, we learned all of that in this place. We'd love to have you here. Master Olem will put a form in the chat box where you can just the registration/attendance form. Just feel free to 2 questions, 1 question, 3 question form. Feel free to fill it so that we can keep in touch with you and follow up with you. Thank you so much. We love you and we're looking forward to seeing you next time. And it's back to you, the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And it's over to you, I guess, Toastmaster Olem, for the interactive session, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I wanted to put up a mentor session, but I think that we're way behind schedule, so we stay within schedule.
Okay.
So I'm going to just try to engage us using the chat box, and then I want responses to come in. So
All
good
right, that's
evening
fine.
once again. Yeah, Toastmasters and guests. And it's so great to have you. So my president took the cat out of the box when she asked, what are you most grateful for when we joined the call earlier on today? And for those who joined much later, this is a great opportunity to give us your feedback. So I will start by asking, and in 2 minutes, in just 2 minutes, tell us, what's the one thing you're most grateful for
Precious,
if you haven't
how are
done
you
that in
doing
the
now?
chat
This one
box
you're just
already?
abandoning me like that.
If you aren't speaking, can you just kindly
No,
mute?
sir.
I'm hearing
Yeah, just let me say.
Not to worry.
Christy. Okay,
I've muted
thank
her.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you haven't left that response in the chat box and you just got in, please join the party and let's just read more. So we've had people tell us they're grateful for life, family, friend, food, dodo, chicken, fried something, whatever it is that is your preference. We would like to read more exciting things in the chat box. So is there anything? No one speaking? Anyone? Grateful for dodo. Once again. Thank you, Toastmaster Eliezer. Okay. Grateful for health. Thank you, Toastmaster Ruben. I don't see much coming in through there. Just because, grateful for season 3 of Interview with Vampire. That's probably like a series of some sort. That's nice. Thank you. Grateful for freedom. Thank you, Toastmaster Toby. So I want to make this quick, and this is the last action. So we've talked about the things that we're most grateful for. I now want us to ask ourselves, if in the last 1 month, 1 week, 1 year, someone has done something that you're truly grateful for and you haven't given them their flowers, as you leave this meeting, do you, Olem, in my case now, do you, Toastmaster Terry, do you, Toastmaster Joy, and our guest on the call, and everyone on this call, do we at this point commit that as soon as we get off this call, we are going to give people their flowers, right? People need to know that they've made an impact. People need to know that they're important to you. So I want us to just leave me with yeses on the commitment. Yes, I will, as a matter of fact. So we sound very legal in this situation, right? Do you promise after this call to go give someone the flowers that they're deserving of? And I will start with mine. Yes, I will. Awesome stuff. I see that coming in. Thank you so very much. Just keep it flooding. Let's have it coming. And I want us, because we're going to come back here in 2 weeks' time, and I'm going to ask. So now we're going to come off mute, and we're going to ask for those who gave the flowers. We want you to share how it was received, because that again is one of the things that fuels us to do what we do, right? I don't know about you, but I feel good when someone tells me thank you for something that I probably didn't even think was a big deal. But then the person comes back and says, this was a big deal, and I am so glad that I did it, right? So thank you so very much. I see your responses coming in. I'm handing the lecture back to the Toastmaster of the day, so we go into the evaluation segment. Thank you, and it's back to you, Toastmaster Terry.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Olem. That was succinct. Thank you. Thank you for keeping it short and sweet. And it's on to the evaluation segment of the meeting, where we get feedback on everything that has happened in today's meeting from the beginning of the meeting up till now. And that will be done or anchored by our very esteemed Toastmaster. Why did this name suddenly fly out of my head? Toastmaster Tosin Imogeme. Toastmaster Tosin, over to you for the evaluation segment.
All right, many thanks, Toastmaster Terry. Very well, a job well done by you. I've enjoyed myself. It's been an exhilarating meeting, listening, smiling, and learning. It is right about time for the evaluation, and it's often been said that feedback may not be easy to take, but it makes success a piece of cake. I would offer already, because our time is fast spent, I would segue into the manual speech evaluations, and our first speech evaluator is a distinguished Toastmaster by the name Toastmaster Chidi Chukwu Madu. I should be evaluating our first speech by Toastmaster Mina Alison. So over to you, DTM Chidi.
Right. Thank you very kindly, Mr. General Evaluator. Toastmaster Mina. Can you please confirm you're on the call? I can't see Toastmaster Mina. Toastmaster Mina, are you still here?
Yes, please,
Just let me hear your voice. Toastmaster Mina?
Confirm you can hear me. I am still on the call.
Absolutely. I hear you now. I hear you now. Thank you very kindly for your speech. I felt that your speech topic was an intriguing one. Interestingly, when I saw the speech topic on the agenda, I felt excited. I felt intrigued. And then that gave me a sense of exhilaration that I was going to be the one to evaluate this speech. I wanted to hear this speech, fight, flight, or freeze. That was one way to capture the attention of your audience. Toastmaster Mina, I like the fact that you had an interesting opening. Telephone call, hello Mina, and that showed me like, okay, you were impersonating somebody. That was attention grabbing. Something else that you did that I love was the fact that you use a couple of literary devices in your speech. You use the rule of three. I understand that you were quoting Eleanor Roosevelt when you talked about the courage, confidence. I loved that you used it also when you were making reference. Your speech topic in itself has that. And also when you were making reference to your copious cup of coffee, that in itself, that was also in what's called homophores. The fact that the first alphabet of those words had the same sound, the C sound. Copious cups of coffee. Well done, Toastmaster Mina. I love your speech. It had a smooth flow. I could clearly tell what was the opening. I could tell the body. I could tell the conclusion. You took it a step further by breaking the body of your speech into segments. And you did that using your speech topic. You talked about what? Your freeze element. You talked about the point where you wanted to what? Take off the flight, and then where you decided to stay to fight. What else did you do that I loved? You used quotes to add credibility to your speech. You quoted Eleanor Roosevelt. I loved that. You quoted Les Brown. I loved that. My recommendation on that part was you use 3 quotes. I would recommend that you reduce the number of quotes you use so that it doesn't take away from the impact of your speech. We want to hear about you. We want to hear your story. What else would I recommend Toastmaster Mina? Is when you quote people, you tell us who they are. You did that for Les Brown, but you did not do that for the first 2 people you quoted. You did not do that for Eleanor Roosevelt. Because I was listening. Who is Eleanor Roosevelt? Do not assume that we know who she is. Just let us know so that if there's anybody on the call who wants to learn more about them, they can go and do their research. Overall, you met the objective of your speech. You had clear structure, clear opening, body, and conclusion. You used the word of the day. You use fantastic literary devices, and you close the loop on your speech by reiterating the opening part and your speech topic. Well done, Toastmaster Mina, and all the best with your future speeches. Mr. General Evaluator, back to you.
How exhilarating is, can we appreciate Toastmaster Chidi in the parts? That was awesome. I'm sure the speaker, Toastmaster Mina, she wasn't really the one who learned from that. The entire audience also did. All right, the next speech evaluator is a fine gentleman by the name Toastmaster Nawiti Parker. He will be evaluating Toastmaster Linus beside Chidi. Toastmaster Nawiti, please break a leg.
Thank you so much, Pain Doctor. Toastmaster Linus, confirm you're on the call and you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Congratulations. That was an absolutely brilliant speech. Now note, the speech on leadership style is not just a speech on public speaking, but a speech on self-awareness. And I dare say that you met your speech objectives. Well done. A lot of things stood out for me, but I'll highlight three. First of all, I'm going to use content and delivery to deliver this evaluation. Your content. I loved how you use what I call the zoom out, zoom in method, highlighting the background of different leadership styles and then zooming in on monarchy and democratic while expanding to pace setting, coaching, and then narrowing it down to your personal leadership style. I thought that was brilliant. You zoomed out, zoomed in, and we could immediately connect to you as a person. I felt that was brilliant. Secondly, your delivery, use of personal storytelling. I loved how you anchored your leadership voyage with a personal and relatable story of your homegrown leadership voyage, where you were initiated as a first son, and where you had to take up the situation at home, delegate roles to your siblings, and then assume the position of an assistant chef and finally the head chef of the family. Why I thought that was brilliant and absolutely impeccable was that a lot of us have had to become leaders by virtue of our positions in the family. Accidental leadership, I may call it, but yet profoundly shaping our leadership trajectories. I thought that was relatable and much more than the story. You were able to bring in vulnerability when you told us that, the food didn't turn out that good, but at least everyone ate. And then there was humor at that point. Brilliant. Well done. The last but not the least, innovation. You talked about being an innovative leader. And there in your speech, I could see innovation everywhere, especially when you used engaging, curious, and rhetorical questions. When you asked us from your title, are leaders born or made? Or when you went down to the end, after all you said, you kept asking us, was it because you were a first son? Was it because of your response to hunger? Was it because of this or that you had taken up all those roles? And I answered, no, it wasn't just because of that. It was because you are actually an innovative leader and an altruistic leader. What are the things I thought you could have done differently? Just two. The first, sometimes as leaders, we have blind spots. We might see ourselves in a certain light, and yet others may see us differently. I thought to have created balance, you could have shared an experience where one or two people gave you feedback about your leadership style. Secondly, I thought your camera position could have been better. But apart from that, today you delivered a speech on self-awareness, and I don't agree less that you are an altruistic leader, an exceptionally innovative leader, and more so a leader with compassion. That is why you cooked for your siblings. Keep speaking and looking forward to your next speech. Back to you, the general evaluator.
All right. Consideration. Wonderful feedback by the fine gentleman.
This personality. Thank you so much for those words of encouragement, of course, making us conscious of the blind spots. And last but not least, on the list of the speech evaluators is Toastmaster Ruben, who's up.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Tosin. Though I pass through the valley of the shadow of death. My goodness, Toastmaster Egochi, that was one amazing opening. That was such an exhilarating opening. And as we know, for every speech, it's an exchange of attention for value. And at that moment, you caught my attention. Thank you for that amazing opening. And then you hit us with some great humor when you said, oh, it's just a camp. What could go wrong, right? That was brilliant. You interspersed this humor throughout your speech, and that made your speech so much more believable and engaging. Then you transitioned with great vocal variety. What could go wrong, right? And that intonation made it not just a speech that we heard, it made it a speech that we relived. However, with every speech, we know that while we do great, we could always do better. Now, one of the things I think you could have done better was in this transitioning for vocal variety. As at the point where you talked about the mom of Casey, the notorious Casey, I think you failed in your vocal variety there. You gave us the gesture to imply you were going to have a phone call with him, but I think you could have modified your voice in a way that we could tell it was a different person speaking. I also feel that in your speech, while you began very powerfully with the value of shadow of death, it's almost never resurfaced throughout your speech. So it almost seemed as if you took a catchy title and slammed it on a good body of speech. I would rather, if you would allow me to say, if you could have engaged a bit more in using parts of the strong connotation of the value of shadow of death all through your speech. So it could have been you saying, "Oh, are you ever at the valley of shadow of death?" So it draws on that your speech is a cohesive body of content you're sharing with who you have to speak with. Now, for the question sessions, I realized that the first question you did good by hitting it with great humor. However, I feel that while you used humor to weaken the strength of the question, you also seem to have failed to respond to the question. The person asks, what would happen in the event that Casey's mother calls? That, as you said, is a tough question. While you maybe might soften the blow with humor, you want to respond to it. While talking about native doctors and all the likes, great work. But please come back to the question and state how you would confront such a tough situation. How do you explain to a mom that her 11-year-old is missing? I think if you had responded to that question after this, it would have strengthened the responses you gave out through and the content. However, I must say you gave great body language. The tap on the shoulder, that was brilliant. It helped make your speech a relieved experience, as I keep saying. Your ease of delivery was impeccable. You were at ease and you were giving us the speech in such a way that it seemed like we didn't want it to stop. I told everyone I was also looking for Casey. I think many people on the call were also looking for Casey. Where is Casey? I know I have people on this call who will look at cases differently after this. So thank you for that amazing speech. You fulfilled your project requirements. Thank you so much. And now it's back to you, the general evaluator.
Wow, cool. That was really a lot. Many thanks to you, just Mr. Ruben. I have learned so much from your evaluation. Thank you so much. All right, so the next on our list is on the agenda is the table topics evaluation, which will be done by Toastmaster SL Gene or Koreka. Hope I didn't butcher your name. Please pardon me. Help I'm fine. All right, so who is this fine lady? She is an environmental sustainability consultant and writer. She is the immediate past president of this prestigious club, and she is on the path of the strategic relationships. She enjoys reading romantic fiction novels, perhaps exploring museums and markets, Nigerian markets, nature hiking, and eating free delicious food. Delicious food. That's interesting. Our favorite quote says, examine the labels you apply to yourself. Every label is a boundary or limit. That's a good line. Dr. With that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our immediate past president as she gives us our table topics evaluation. Over to you, Toastmaster yourself.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Tosin, and good morning, everyone. Today, I'd like to commend all our table topics participants and our table topics master. First off, Toastmaster GBK, I loved how you used the word of the day. It was exhilarating to hear you use it in different tenses. I also loved your use of quotes, especially when transitioning from different topics. And the call to action you gave at the end, telling us to embrace our physical strengths and become faster, higher, and stronger. My suggestion would be in Toastmasters, we like to tie our theme to the themes of our meeting. And the theme of our meeting was flourishing in gratitude. And it is good you use a contemporary topic like the Olympics that is ongoing right now. But I think a good way would have been to weave it into the team while still speaking to it. Because someone who's not a Toastmaster guest that joined the call might think our team was actually faster, higher, stronger, or that our team was celebrating the Olympics. So I think that would be a good way to still weave a good idea into our speeches. Other than that, I love the use of word of the day. I love the quotes you used and that call to action. I think I'm going to take a longer walk today because of what you've told me. Thank you. We had 3 table topics participants. Our first was Toastmaster Toby, who had to talk about an area of her life where she had to be faster, higher, stronger before she was 18. I loved that she told a personal story, and also I loved the use of the word of the day. I also loved her inner monologue when she talked about asking for help and telling herself, we can't keep going like this. And so she asked her mom and got the opportunity to get personal tutorials to help her. I love that because it's a good call to action for us to know how to ask for help. My suggestion would be, we do not assume knowledge of the audience. When you reference someone, your brother, yes, we know he's your brother, but we do not know your brother. It would have been good to say his name, his full name. I'm assuming he's an Akimolua like you, but stating his name and then establishing your relationship with him would have helped in him being a good source of your memories of that time. In addition, not everyone also knows what WAEC is. So saying the West African examination that is written by all students in moving from secondary school to university would really help us. And I know how you speak, so I would have loved to see your vocal variety, especially when you were talking about my mom made me repeat, which we always claim our failures to be from others. But I would have liked to see that's a vulnerable thing, having to start again. So I'd have loved it. My mom made me repeat. Show us your hurt and disappointment. But other than that, I loved your use of word of the day and your personal story. Help establish credibility by explaining why and giving your brother's name, and keep speaking. Well done. Our second speaker was Toastmaster Samuel, who had to speak on a time in his life where he had to be faster, higher, stronger, and he shared his university experience. I loved his personal example, talking about that disappointment as someone who also failed terribly in 100 level. I could immediately relate with that story. I would like you to also incorporate vocal variety when you talk about that total disappointment of not doing well in 100 level. In addition, I loved how you use the call to action. In whatever challenges I face, I can always come out faster, come out stronger, higher, come out stronger. I thought that was very good. Well done, Toastmaster Samuel. And finally, we had Toastmaster Linus. I loved how you shared about a sport you play and the benefits and how it helps you. I'd like you, as a seasoned Toastmaster that you are, I would have loved you to use the word of the day and also tell us a personal story. What was a game you played that really showed that you know how to attack in the midfield and you assisted people? Sorry, I did not understand football, so in case I misinterpret this, I would have liked to hear that personal story that really shows these traits that show what you like. I loved how you broke it down, though. I now know that there's an attacker in the 8th position, and I know that you help people score goals. So that was a very detailed and good breakdown. Use the word of the day and tell us a personal story, and it would really help because when you quote people, you tell us who they are. So tell me one person you were able to support or one game you would always love. Make me a fan too, like you are of these sports. Thank you to all our participants today. I absolutely loved listening. Let's keep telling personal stories. Let's learn to use the word of the day and show our feelings, especially for vulnerable situations. Thank you. It was an exhilarating time listening, and it's back to you, our general evaluator, Toastmaster Tosin.
Madam IDP, that was exhilarating. Well done, well done, well done. That was beautiful. Feedback. All right, now on to the practice and the practice. English doctor.
Professor Toastmaster Craig, Professor of the Grammarian. Over to you, Dr. Craig. Toastmaster Craig, you on the call?
All right, thank you most kindly. Fellow Toastmasters, it's about improvement, not perfection. Therefore, I would encourage all of us to receive my evaluation with humility and grace. As far as the word of the day is concerned, a plethora of Toastmasters used it. Toastmaster Essay once, Toasting twice, Edem once, DTM Chidi thrice, Mina once, Tari once, Ezra once, Nameti Akban twice, Ruben twice. Toastmaster Chibike used it 4 times, and she used it a whopping 8 times, and that is awe-inspiring. Regarding the eloquent use of pronunciation, I'd like to commend GBK, who pronounced adolescent properly, not adolescent, adolescent. That is impeccable pronunciation. Toby, growth. DTM Chidi, power. Mina, strength. Excellent use of the soft TH sound. Mispronunciation, please. Number 1, Lighthouse Prestige. Toastmasters Club? Definitely not. Lighthouse Prestige. Toastmasters Club. When this word is a surname of a person, it is prestige. But in the context of that Toastmasters Club, it is Lighthouse Prestige. This word entered the vocabulary of English in 1829, according to the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary. The next word is developed. Not quite. Developed. From the verb developed. And capable, well, that can be enhanced. Capable, capable, capable. I want to commend these speakers who used brilliantly enthralling, exhilarating words. This was Anameti Akban when he said sense of effervescence. That is a sense of vivacity, liveliness. Brilliant use of English. Immense by Toastmaster Mina. And then Toastmaster Ekwechi used to work with the phrase, I would have leaped for joy. This is enchanting, even though leaped is peculiarly American English, while leapt is used chiefly in British English. Nevertheless, I would have leaped for joy is a scintillating expression, and I want to commend her for that. Additionally, may I commend Toastmaster Toby for her use of metamorphosed, which is synonymous with transformed. Ladies and gentlemen, we turned a blind eye at our use of transitions today, and that would attest to why we used also 10 times in this meeting, 10 times. We turned a blind eye to our use of additive transitions. I was expecting us to use moreover, furthermore, further, on top of that, besides, and whatnot. Having said that, I'd like to wrap up my evaluation by commending Toastmaster Linus, who used this rhetorical question. Are leaders born or made? I like this one because it has always been an imperative statement. Leaders are born, not made. But today, he turned it into a rhetorical question, and it was exhilarating in my hearing. Toastmaster Ekwechi, you will get a copy of my book for your use of the word of the day today. Fellow Toastmasters, as we continue to speak and speak and speak, may we likewise continue to grow and grow and grow. And it's back to you, our chief evaluator.
Many thanks to you, Toastmaster Craig, for that beautiful evaluation. And I'd love to call it exhilarating evaluation. But I'm wondering why I did not win the word of the day. And you gave it to the president. So I'm thinking, was there some sort of politics? But don't worry, I'll come. We'll meet behind camera. All right, that was a lot of light notes. And our next note there is our counter. Toastmaster Eliezer, please give us your counter reports. Over to you, sir.
Very much. CMOD. I didn't know that there was a book. I would have used exhilarating to show how exhilarated I was and how exhilarating this accounting job is to be exhilarating. That's 9 now. So TM Joy will talk later about the book. I feel genuinely that the accountant can be made redundant in Pecten because there's a strong desire to not use filler words. I was struggling to find people use filler words, and I think it's a testament to how refined we've become and how much attention we pay to, like you said. But we had like a few people that use like filler words, like the one I just used now. So that wasn't even deliberate. I used two filler words. I use like now, and I used initially when I did my introductory speech. TM used an once. Termina used once. Then during the table topics, we had a couple of filler words. Tobilola used about 3 times, used like once. Someone used once, but once, and repeated a couple of times. And GBK repeated as well. And basically that was what the R counter report is. And I've used more R than everybody in my reports, but thank you.
Well done. In other words, you won. All right, many thanks for saying is last but not least is the timers reports. Just Mr. Eden, Mr. How well have we fed with time? Please give us your reports.
Good evening, General Evaluator and Toastmasters and guests. For our timers reports, I must say we didn't do well with our time because of how overspent we've enlonged the meeting too. So for the prepared speeches, TM Mina spoke for 5 minutes, 18 seconds. TM Linus spoke for 5 seconds. TM Ekuchi spoke for 6 minutes, 58 seconds. And during the Q&A of our speech, she spoke for 5 minutes, 31 seconds. For the table topics, TM Tobiloba spoke for 3 minutes, 10 seconds. TM Samuel spoke for 2 minutes. TM Linus spoke for 1 minute, 36 seconds. For the evaluation, TM Chidi Chukudi Madu evaluating TM Mina's speech used 3 minutes, 38 seconds. TM Nameti Apan evaluating TM Linus's speech spoke for 3 minutes, 34 seconds. TM Ruben Uzo evaluating TM Ekuchi's speech spoke for 3 minutes, 25 seconds. For the table topics evaluation, TM Eseogene used 4 minutes, 28 seconds. And it's back to you, General Evaluator.
Wow, well done. This was I personally loved how you All right, that brings us to the final part of the evaluation, final evaluation. All right, let me start by commending First Club. This is my first time attending.
Toasting, you're struggling to hear you. I don't know, it's not clear. Maybe it's your
here as well.
earbuds. It was clearer initially. So maybe, yeah.
Sound down. Is it better now?
Far better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I had to. Okay. So I was saying that this is my first time I'll be at Pecten Toastmasters Club, and sincerely, absolutely impressed. In fact, I got impressed before the meeting when Toastmasters all of them started reaching out to me. I got the agenda on Saturday. I got a PDF file, 37 pages, and I was wondering what it was, perhaps a book or something I needed to read. And then I opened, and then I started seeing a slide, explaining how the meeting was going to go, and I was really impressed. I've not seen that before personally. I don't know if I've not really thought around, but I haven't. And then I even got my evaluation checklist again. Many times when we go to clubs to play roles, you just assume you already know what to do. But she was intentional about sending it to me. So that's really so commendable. And I must commend your club. It shows how organized you are at the club, and your preparation is worthy of emulation. The meeting started at 4:15 prompt, so we're punctual. We had about, I think when it was about 4 p.m., we already had 5 members on the call. When the meeting started, the president took initiative when Toastmaster Olem seemed to be struggling with her internet. That's taking initiative, and which is one of the hallmarks of a true leader and emotional intelligence. She also engaged the audience during her inspirational thoughts. She asked us to write or type what we're grateful for. You saw people, we're all, it was really engaging. The TMOD also engaged the audience. She was really amiable, nice, friendly, full of, smiles. The chat box, yes, well engaged, and they gave room for even our guests to participate during our meeting. Everyone was properly introduced, and in fact, everyone was not just properly introduced, but their succinct profiles were presented for everyone to see, and of course, made everyone who was part of the meeting feel important. The interactive session was also a very creative one, and I must also commend the fact that the speech evaluators, they ensured that when they were about to start the evaluation, they called the attention of the speakers they were about to evaluate to ensure that they were present or they were listening. That was really apt. The agenda was absolutely detailed. In fact, I tried as much as possible to use my ego eyes to look for an error, but I couldn't find any. The attendance peaked, got to about 37 at some point, which is really commendable. And I really enjoyed the meeting. I felt the word of the day was apt for this meeting. It was absolutely exhilarating. My recommendations, however, when I joined the meeting at 4 p.m., while we were sort of exchanging warm remarks and were being welcomed, I felt a soft classic on music, something from Shade Adu, a soundtrack would just be playing on the ground to make, how music makes us feel lively and just sort of ease the tension. And then the agenda, I noticed the number of table topics wasn't specified. I felt the number of table topics should have been specified. Perhaps the table topic master had been informed, you're going to have 3 speakers, but I think next time, while the agenda was well detailed, I felt you could have specified how many topics you wanted us to have. The speeches were exhilarating, but I felt they could have been more dramatic. Aside from the president's speech, the quality was good, but I felt the speakers could have been more dramatic, infusing vocal variety, body language, and the likes. The table topics master, I felt one of the volunteers was someone who had already played a role, who had already, given a speech. That's Toastmaster Linus. I felt you could have given room for a guest who hadn't played a role, and this ensures that everyone participates in the meeting. While the schedule of this meeting may be, during closing hours, I noticed some people, the cameras, I think it's more professional to have your cameras on the, using the landscape style, and, the manner at which some of us showed up could be more professional because we're also selling Toastmasters. And when guests come in, they should come in and, not just meet Toastmasters, but see how professionals, how they manage themselves. But ultimately, okay, finally, yeah, I would have been surprised if we kept the time, because I noticed at some points we had a welcoming part at the middle of the meeting, and the president had welcomed everyone at the beginning of the meeting, and then having it at the middle of the meeting, and then having it at the end of the meeting could be sort of repetitive, and of course to take more time. So we could manage our time better. But ultimately, your meeting uses so much professionalism, creativity, and diligence. I'm deeply impressed. To put it in one word, I felt exhilarated. And on this note, I'd love to relinquish the control back to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Tari Adebisi. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Toasting. I hope you haven't run out of breath. Take a drink of water. Thank you very much, everyone who has played a role in today's meeting. I want to call out 3 people in this meeting. In fact, they kept that chat box full of all manner of things, from plantain to chicken, golden brown, crisp meats. There's no kind of food they have. Toastmaster Eliezer, Toastmaster Edem Zikak, Toastmaster Grace Peters, what did we do to you? Haven't you done enough? Huh? Well, thank you for engaging so much in the chat box. Thank you for making us laugh. It was a really fun meeting and I was honored. I am honored to have played this role. And without taking further time, I need to go prepare dinner. They've made me hungry. It's back to you, Madam President, for your closing remarks, and see you all next time. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, please do me the favor of unmuting your microphones and giving Toastmaster Tari a befitting round of applause. My goodness, it couldn't have been done any better. If I placed a bet when I said she was going to be amazing, maybe I should have, but I've been catching up by now. I knew what I was saying when I said she was going to do a great job. Thank you so much to TMOD for taking us through. It doesn't even feel like you haven't done this in a while. You haven't lost it. Definitely not rusty. Thank you, everyone that attended today's meeting. This has been good. We're running behind time. All I would say is thank you in the spirit of gratitude. I'll say thank you, and thank you again. Please make it a date with us. We're going to be here in another 2 weeks from now. Looking forward to seeing even more people on this call, but it gets better as it goes. Trust me. Our path shines brighter and brighter in Pecten. Just whatever you saw today, imagine that it will be better the next time. So make sure you're here and do well to bring your friends too. Do we have a tongue twister today? What are we doing? Oh, great, I see it. Tongue twister. You know New York, you need New York, you know you need unique New York. I'm definitely not going to try this one. Please. Who is going to volunteer? This must say, it's not by wearing sunshades. Please take this. Take this. Oh yeah, unmute. Say it 3 times. It's long, so it's a long one. So I'll try.
I can see your camera about to record my shame. You know New York, you need New York, you know you need unique New York, you know New York, you need New York, you know you need unique New York, you know New York, you need New York, you know you need unique New York, New York.
That was good. You even made it to the second one. I wouldn't have made it past the first one. I must commend you. Because what did we do to you? According to Sosatari, the pain, the torment, the torture. Haven't you done enough? What is all this?
The first 3 lines make you feel very chill until you get to unique New York. Then you know that this is
Oh my goodness, that's just too much. Thank you so much for volunteering to take this. That was really good. It helps us build our vocabulary and just make sure that things roll off our tongues nicer as Toastmasters. Our next meeting is on the 20th of August, and it would be hybrid, if I'm not mistaken. Professor Olin, please confirm this.
Yes, it will be a hybrid meeting on the 20th.
Great.
Yes.
All of the details will be put out there. Our guest on the call, please, I hope you've put your numbers and your name and your information in the form that was put out in the chat box. Looking forward to seeing all those responses in. We're looking forward to seeing you again in our meeting. We love you all. We enjoy when we see the chat box brilliant of comments. We love to see the participant list. 30 on the call. At some point, we're almost 40 on this call. I'm like, oh my goodness, that was so impressive. Thank you so much and have an amazing week. Remember to flourish with gratitude. Adios.
Have an exhilarating week.